Several messages to you for having been recognized worth to receive this award. We are a country of 50 million plus, but in that population, you and your colleagues were singled out. And you were told that it was subsequent to a rigorous research. Therefore, it is not by chance, it's by merits that you have received the award. Permit me to equally state that this country is ailing, the country is sick. It requires a surgeon and a political surgeon. A surgeon will be precise to addressing the issues ailing this country. And you all understand that the issues ailing this country is the issues of lawlessness and the disregard of the rule of law. We need a leader who is going to restore this country back to the rule of law. And that leader, in my own view, and in the view of the majority of the Kenyans, is you, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. If we are able to get the country back to the rule of law, we will not speak about issues of accountability. If we get this country back to the rule of law, we will not speak about the issues of transparency. If we get the country back to the rule of law, issues of abduction and extrajudicial killings will be the issues of the past. Issues of disregard of the views of the people will be a thing of the past. Issues of corruption will be the issues of the past. Your Excellency, I have heard the Bible says that happy are the peacekeepers. But where we are going, we require much more than peace. We require aggression. Thank unto you that you are vigorously aggressive to defending the integrity and the sovereignty of our country. I wish to thank you once more for having taken the lead in the Adani's case, that you've come out to protect the sovereignty of our country, symbolized by the JKIA. JKIA is ours, and nobody can touch us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To congratulate you for this prestigious award. It is well deserved. Because I know you are a man of the word and you read the Bible. The Bible says in the Beatitudes that blessed are the peacemakers, they shall be called sons of God. We thank you for the work that you have continued to do in this country and in this region. But as Mheshimiwa Mbuya said, and as Waziri Eugene has said, your commitment to peacemaking must never be mistaken for cowardice, because it is not. Peacemakers are not necessarily people that will sit back and allow aggressors to violate their rights or the rights of people around them. But a leader, personally, I want to tell this country, because I think I know. If there is a leader in this country who believes in the rights of other people, even more than his own rights, then that leader is Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And I know that even today, if you realize that the rights of even your political opponents are being violated, you will stand firm in defense of their rights. And that's the leader that this country has been waiting for. But a leader, as I conclude, this country, and I say this also as an elder in the church, this country has been waiting for your leadership. And that time has come. Lead with courage, assured that behind you and walking alongside you are millions of Kenyans who profess and are committed to justice. I thank you, Batili. Yes. Thank you very much. This opportunity to, first of all, congratulate
CMA for this award and for finding the right man for the award.
They should come up with the right woman.
Because I can tell you that as our team leader, we are very, very proud of him and what he has done for this country. When you're talking about peace, this country has known instability before. And during some of our darkest days, particularly in 2007, 2008, that is when he came out and stood by President Mwai Kibaki, stabilized this country. So the peace we celebrated, then after that, he had something to do with it, and this country remembers him for that. And not just in this country, beyond our borders, in the Sudan, South Sudan, the role he has played in stabilizing the region, in bringing peace in the region. You couldn't have found a better person for this award, and we want to thank you for that, but also to congratulate His Excellency for his outstanding role as a mediator, as a peacemaker, and as a leader who has always fought to bring the country together for all Kenyans to live in peace and harmony. So we are very proud today to celebrate this award. And the Bible says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Your Excellency, congratulations, and we're very proud of you. But also to say what Bishop Desmond Tutu once said, that without justice there can be no peace. Without peace there can be no development. I want to share the sentiments of His Excellency that indeed, even as we move forward, we must ensure that we do justice to ensure that our country is peaceful. What happened last year and this year in terms of the demonstrations against the Finance Bill 2023 and the Finance Bill 2024, and the Gen Zs who were killed, their families are still crying out for justice. Perhaps today we might see the country is calm and think that our country is peaceful. Indeed, it might just be the calm before the storm, especially with the plans of this broad-based government to bring back the 2024 Finance Bill. We did tell them last year that please drop this Finance Bill. They did not listen to us, and it costed lives. 75 died last year, over 60 died this year, and bringing back this Finance Bill is like bringing back the storm that caused bloodshed. And as we celebrate this peacemaker, we want to reach out to the broad-based government to tell them not to provoke the wrath of the Gen Zs to come back to the streets, but also to do justice for the families who lost their dear ones. And that we will fight for even as we celebrate this award. Perhaps maybe I would invite Governor Waitito and one or two colleagues to also congratulate our leader, but to assure the country that even as we move forward, we will continue fighting for peace and for justice for our fellow Kenyans. Karibu Governor, usalimie, upongeze kiongozi wetu.
Gashira Kikwete had not even been appointed foreign minister, and Rugunda, who later became Prime Minister of Uganda, was also the foreign minister of Uganda. We worked with speed because we recognize East Africans made a terrible mistake when the East African community collapsed in 1977. Again, unknown to Kenyans and East Africans, Europe borrowed heavily a kind of example, and they went on to build today. You talk about European Union. First of all, it was a commission, a union. And on our part, we decided, because of lack of political will that time, remember President Milton Obote that time, Mwalimu Nyerere, Mzee Kenyatta, you recall, even today, sometimes Tanzanians wonder how it happened, because we took hold of Kenya Airways, East African Airways and things, and even the division of assets was a big issue. But now, the younger generation is coming of age. The Gen Zs, because now I think our responsibility as senior leaders is to prepare this country and hand it over properly to the next generation. So we applaud our young leaders, the Gen Zs, who decided, hey, you will not take our country from us and escape. We will be hard. Therefore, Anifa, who was one of the recipients, is she on the way? Yeah, if she's here, we want to celebrate Anifa. She told the police to their face. And even as we speak, those issues have not been sorted. We heard from this administration of William Ruto that they were going to compensate the youths who lost their lives. The families are still waiting. No compensation, no talk even, no indication whatsoever that you are willing to talk to these parents. Well, I think it is important. Justice demands that we don't make promises that we can't keep or we don't intend to keep. They just wanted an escape route, which they got. Some of us afforded them an escape route, and then they got all of it. And in fact, some of us who belong to the Azimio family are benefiting from the blood and the sweat of the many Kenyans who came to the streets, and the whole world stood still and took notice of the Gen Z revolt and movement. In my view, that revolution continues. Until these things are sorted out and Kenyans made to live peaceably with each other. Remember, I think it's in the book of Ephesians where the Bible tells us, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Leaders, we will be there looking for votes and calling each other names. But remember, we have a country. We are all, at the end of the day, Kenyans, East Africans, and members of the world community. Therefore, the example of the Gen Z and the millennials. By the way, they are the ones who came out in Botswana hardly 2 weeks ago. The Gen Zs and the millennials came out. So, I think it's within the mediation spirit to ask this administration to give ideas to these young Kenyans, because they want to come and teach some people a lesson of their lives. Like they did in Botswana, where the ruling party that time, the president who did one term, and if you look at what happened in Botswana, you can almost see exactly what has happened in Kenya. The president who was driven out by the Gen Zs and the millennials was torturing his predecessor, Ian Khan, I think that's the name. Yeah. And in fact, that president escaped. Former president went to South Africa on exile. And then you preach hatred. Again, remember the biblical principle. You kill by the sword, you die by the sword. So there's so much. When God gives us bread, let us live peaceably with each other. Don't punish your opponents. You know, now, there are business people in this country who cannot dare to be identified with the opposition because they know the KRA people will be on their case tomorrow. Yani watu wanaishi kwa woga. So we must say no to fear. In a democracy, you cannot have that principle of fear and call yourself a democratic state. Therefore, the Gen Z said, whether we die, they were almost like Paul, who wrote and said, for me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. They said to die is gain. So we have to redeem this land. So that blood cannot have been shed in vain. In 2023, at these grounds, after the demonstrations, the churches in Nairobi could not even allow us to hold some requiem mass for the almost 70 young people who died. So we had to put a tent here You may remember media colleagues that we were putting wreaths here. Former President Uhuru was here, Raila was here, I was here, and other leaders. We couldn't even be allowed to bury those young people decently. And we ferried them to Siaya, to Makueni. We ferried them. And then a repeat of 2024, this time led by the Gen Zs. So there's time now, there's need for us to talk, mediation, and ability to live together as Kenyans. Though we will disagree, as indeed we ought to in a democracy, but let us remember that what is it that is the nexus holding us together? Our Constitution 2010, bequeathed to us by President Kibaki. At least hold that. Let's hold to that constitutionalism, that sense of constitutionalism and the rule of law. And when we say tumeumizana, people should be to say sorry literally and do something about it. We will on Friday here be addressing a very critical issue because our research team is on it. So media, don't be tired. We want to talk about this vaccination of 22 million cows. Hey, mutashangaa kabisa the reason behind it. People using climate change debate say our cows produce methane gas, which is okay, our cows, right? And because of the clever Kenyans actually do biogas, they cook with it. Now they want to vaccinate our cows in order to stop producing. Yeah, can you imagine? Because you see, you in offend the ozone layer, and to use Kenya as a guinea pig. So after this vaccination of 22 million cattle, we will be eating meat that has been genetically modified. It's not enough that they have lifted the orders on GMO and we have gone to the appeal court. GMO imekubalika. We need therefore this mediation spirit in us so we know, tell each other the truth. So this is really, come to think of it, this is dangerous stuff. But we'll be talking about it on Friday. When Jeremiah Kioni kept on talking about this over the weekend, I was wondering, what is Kioni talking about? Until the reality has hit me. So we will say a polite and firm no to some of these machinations. And we'll ask our people. By saying no, we are not saying you don't belong to Kenya or you want to immigrate. No, this is the only land. This is our land. Yeah. In the book of Isaiah, Kenyans have tried to identify where Kenya is. The land beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. So this land is important. Kwa hivyo mimi nawashukuru sana. I don't know whether it will be in order for me to ask one or two of my colleagues. Yeah, Paloma. We take a picture first. We face that way.